What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the See You Next Tuesday podcast. I'm Shay.
And I am Shannon.
Nice to see you guys again. We obviously skipped a week because we were traveling.
We were traveling.
And it was worth it.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. I went to Philadelphia. My cousin got married last weekend. So exciting. I love a good wedding.
I love weddings.
I love a wedding. Let me tell you, I cried the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, there was someone there that listens to our podcast, which was so exciting. And I'm so sad. If you're listening right now, I'm so sad I couldn't meet you. But I am happy you got to meet my mom because she was very excited to tell me about meeting you.
I was dying when you texted me that. I was like, oh my God. It's like so funny because I'm like, every time I hear somebody listens to the podcast, I'm like, no way.
I know. Well, also, I was just like at my cousin's wedding. There's never a point where I was like, someone's gonna be like, oh, that's Shannon from See You Next Tuesday.
Yeah.
No. But it happened. Like, I mean, she didn't see me, but like my mom, I don't know the whole story, but like somehow like someone in my family works with her. And then they found out that they listen to the same pod or that I'm on that. Whatever. I don't know the story. Anyways, she listens to the podcast on her commute to work. And I'm so happy that you do. And thank you so much for listening.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm so sad I couldn't meet you again. But
okay, on the commute to work. So that means we need to post it about it earlier. So
yeah,
we got to do it.
Like my mom listens to it while she works out.
Right.
Or on her way to work out. I don't know what exactly she does. But she was like, I worked out and there was no podcast. And I was like, sorry.
Okay, I'm not a morning person. That's on me. I'm so much a night owl, which having a baby changed all of that. But I'm still like, I don't know what it is about me. Like, I genuinely am like, as soon as 10 p.m. hits, I'm like, I'm motivated to do everything that I need to do.
Is that why you go on Do Not Disturb?
Yep. I go and Do Not Disturb every night.
The fact that I know. Every time I text you, I'm like, oh, am I disturbing her? And then it's like, you answer and I go, oh, she's awake. I go on sleep mode.
Okay. I do sleep mode, I feel like, but I think it's Do Not Disturb.
Does it still say do not disturb?
Yeah.
I guess. Oh.
Yeah. But I like sleep mode because I'm like, genuinely, I'm like, I don't know what it is about nighttime. I just get shit done.
I get it. I used to always be like that. I used to stay up till like 2 a.m, like working.
Yep.
Just so I could have the day to not do it.
So I can have the day. Like, if I want to take a nap, I can take a nap. If I want to sleep in, I can sleep in. Now, not so much. Now, I'm motivated at night, and then I wake up, and I'm like, my God. I have to get up at 7
So,
a.m.
So you got to get up. I'm over here like,
yeah.
What kills me is like when we go out, and then I feel like you're waiting to text me because you know I'm not up.
I know.
And you wake up, and I'm like, man, Shay was up at like 7 a.m. And I'm over here like 11 a.m. like, and then I get a text. So, hey, how you feeling?
I'm always like, I know she's sleeping in, dude. And I'm up bright and freaking early because the kid's like, hey, mommy, come get me.
Mom. I have one thing to say. Sorry, going back to the wedding. I cried the whole time. It was a beautiful wedding. Mm-hmm. Congratulations to Daly and Cameron. They're in Australia now. Lucky them.
Yeah, right.
But you know what?
Minus the snakes. Sorry.
Minus the snakes. And oh my God, I saw a TikTok where it's just like a bunch of frogs in the toilet.
No.
Oh, it gave me like the heebie-jeebies.
Mm-hmm.
My one thing. I love a Moscow Mule. Right. So Daly, the bride, you know how they have like the bride's drink, the groom's drink at cocktail hour. She had a cranberry Moscow Mule. Super delicious. Love it. My thing is I was drinking it and I'm like, no one appreciates a Moscow Mule. Mm-hmm. There's espresso martini. There's dirty martini. Mm-hmm. There's margaritas. But no one's raving about the Moscow Mule.
Here's what I think on that topic. I forget about the Moscow Mule. And then when somebody mentions
remember it.
And then I'm like, that's what I want.
Exactly.
It's the drink of the century, I'll say.
It should be, but no one, it's so underrated. No one talks about it. No one appreciates her. Mm-hmm. And you know what? She needs her moment. I freaking love a Moscow Mule. I think it is like the every time we go to Barcelona, you're always like Moscow Mule, and I'm like, wait, I'll do that too, because I don't drink liquor, but if I'm gonna drink liquor, I'm gonna be drinking a Moscow Mule.
I know, and it's so delicious, and it is the best drunk. I feel like it's a slow, it's fun for sure.
And then also it's like, You can dress her how you want to. You can have a cranberry Moscow Mule. You can do a Kentucky bourbon Moscow Mule for the men.
Yep.
And then you can do like a gin Moscow Mule. And
wow, I didn't know you could do that.
you can do so many different Moscow Mules. And I'm like, why does no one appreciate the Moscow Mule?
I agree. Let's get on that, everybody, because I agree.
2025 for the Moscow Mule.
Here's my hot take with your wedding adventure. Why aren't there more weddings? Or am I just not invited to any? Like, I want to be invited to a wedding.
Yeah, I was like, wait, there's like a lot of weddings.
I'm not invited.
No,
I'm genuinely, I just want, like, I see all these TikToks of people like putting on their dresses, like trying to pick out an outfit. And I'm like, I want to go to a wedding so bad. There's nothing more joyful, if I'm being honest. Like, you get to have like the emotional, you get to have the good food, and then you get to drink and party. And like,
it's so fun.
It's so fun.
There's a part of me that's like, wow, I'm such a wimp. Like, I can't even get through. I mean, granted, this was my family, like my cousin. So like, obviously it's like, I'm going to cry.
Right.
But I will go to like some stranger's wedding and I'll probably cry. Because I'm just such a wimp. I'm like, oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Dude, I literally am like, oh my God.
Just watching two people who are like so madly in love and like, it's, you know, that they're just, this is the best day ever for them.
The best.
And it's just so nice to watch. And honestly, like watching that whole thing, I don't know. Also, I saw my cousin, she's 24, I think, 24 or 25. I think she's 24. But like, I watched her grow up and everything. And I was like, that's all I was thinking about. I was like, wow, this is Daly getting married. This is crazy. He's crying as his groomsmen are walking down the aisle. Not even her. Like, he's just crying. And I'm like, I can't even look at him.
Crying at his friends. He's like, they're so
beautiful. He's dapping him up. I'm like,
right.
Oh, love.
I love love. I do. I just told, which is a good transition into my next topic. I just told my therapist, I was like, I don't know what it is. Like, I just love love. Like, same. I want to be loved. I want to give love. Like, I just love love. And I feel like it's like such a big part of the human experience is like loving people and loving on people.
Yeah, on all different levels.
Right. But I think I want to be loved too much.
Too much. Everyone should actually just love me.
Everyone should show me all the love.
Yeah.
Like, can you go with the program? But anyways, we can, well, actually, I was going to say more about the wedding things, but we don't have to. I was going to ask you some hot topics on it.
Oh, yeah. Ask me.
Okay. So what do you think about brides who ask their bridesmaids to go to another country for their bachelorette?
Tough. It's tough. I mean, like, there's half of me that's like, yes, gives me a reason to like go somewhere. Yeah. But then my bank account's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, and then I do understand the perspective where people are like, you're really asking a lot of us.
Yeah.
I think it's like, if the bride's like, hey, I would love to do a bachelorette trip out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
If you can make it, that's awesome. If you can't, please do not stress out about it.
Right.
If she really wants to do that, then she really wants to do that. And it's like, as long as she's not going to be a jerk about it and be like, wow, Sally didn't come to my bachelorette. Like, I can't believe it. I'd be like, what, you only spent $2,000 to come to Greece?
That's what I'm saying. Like, a trip like that is not just a couple $100. It's like
thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars. And I'm like, here's my hot take, sorry. If you're asking me to go on a trip like that, or if I were asking somebody to go on a trip like that, I would have to cover at least plane tickets or the
Airbnb or the hotel or whatever.
Like, that's just like, first of all, people don't go out of the country often, and second of all, we're gonna go out of the country and then celebrate you the whole weekend, which I love that, and that's a lot of fun. I'm not saying that's wrong.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is to take a trip completely out of the country, which is like something people do once every 5 years.
Yeah.
You know,
because they can't afford it. They have to save up for it.
They have to save up for it. But then you're like, and it's all about you kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. It's like, that's why I'm like, I like go back and forth, because like, if someone, that's what sucks is like, I think about it. I'm like, if someone asked me to do that for their bachelorette,
mm-hmm.
and then also think about it, this is just their bachelorette.
Mm-hmm.
You also have to now say their wedding. I'm going to make a hard assumption if their bachelorette's out of the country,
mm-hmm.
whether their wedding is out of the country as well, or it might not be in the same state as you, or like you just got to travel expenses, the dresses that you have to buy. If you're in the wedding, you got to buy the bridesmaid's dress. You got to do a rehearsal. It's like,
at this point, it's like, it should be your wedding.
Yeah. It's a lot.
You know? I think about that. Like, I was thinking about, you know, like, bachelorettes. Like, we're about to go on a bachelorette this year. And I was like, I mean, obviously, it's perfect. Like,
honestly, it's the easiest bachelorette trip I will be attending.
Most perfect. I'm so excited for it. But it just got me thinking about, like, bridesmaids who are kind of bridezilla-ish and, like, are like, well, I wanted to go to Greece. Like, why wouldn't you go to Greece with me? And it's like, also,
it's brides that act like that are like, I want to go out of the country with my bachelorette, and then get mad at you for not spending the money to go on. I'd be like, okay.
I just feel like that's not really a true friend.
No, because then also it's like, once you get to Greece, they're going to ask you to pay for everything for them because it's their wedding.
And then also they have their whole itinerary that you really don't get much of a say in.
No.
And it's like
the excursions, the boat days, the dinners,
and like,
I'm
sure it's so amazing, but like, what if you wanted to go sightseeing and there's not a day for it? What if you wanted to try a restaurant that everybody's raving about? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like hard for me to justify going out of the country
and for someone's bachelorette.
Right.
Yeah. If you're going out of the country, you'd like to like make it a trip that you're doing things that you want to do.
Yeah. And with people that you want to see or people who are, you know, just like people who are on the same page, I guess. Anyway.
To say, like, one of my best friends from college, she's getting married in Costa Rica, and I'm going to Costa Rica. But like, she told this to us, oh my God, like 2 years ago.
Really? See,
like, I have been saving up for those. So it's like,
and it's for a wedding.
It's for a wedding, yes. Yeah, it's her actual wedding, and all my friends are gonna be there, like, that I haven't seen in like a couple of years too. So it's like kind of like a reunion, and I don't know. I'm super excited because I'm like, also it gives me a reason to be like, oh my God, I have to go to Costa Rica, everyone. I'm like, sorry, I can't. I'm in Costa Rica. It's for a wedding.
I'm going to Costa Rica. Haven't you heard?
I'm like,
but like, that's respectable a little bit. You know, like giving you a 2-year thing, and then it's with people you want to go with.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
And it's not just like a whole like a bunch of pressure on you. I feel like that's like perfect.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really excited about it.
Ooh, I'm excited for you. I'm going to live through you on that one. We are in our travel era right now, I feel like. I mean, I want to go to San Diego again. I went this weekend, and it's just like,
I want to go to San Diego.
Girl, I get it.
I know. I love it.
I get it.
Kate and Catherine, if you're listening. And Lee. I think Lee lives in San Diego. I want to move. We want to move.
I literally got there and I was like, okay, so let's look at rent.
Yeah, like, so I understand. I understand now.
No, yep. I so get it.
I've raved about it for years.
I was just like, what is it? You know, I was like, it's California. It all kind of seems the same to me, even though it's probably the longest, like, state ever. But I literally just, like, I went there and I was like, even in the winter, like, it's January, babes. Like, it's not beach time. But I went there and I was like, this feels like the vibe, the environment, the walkable places, the people, the food. I'm like, everything is so perfect.
It's so nice.
It's too perfect.
It's too perfect. I know.
Except for the price of rent.
And that's why it's not perfect.
Right.
And that's where I'm like, thank you.
Right. A little bit of thank you.
A little bit of that. Yeah. Because I'm like, if the rent wasn't that high, I think we'd all live there.
Dude,
the entire U.S. would just live in San Diego.
I know, and I'm like, I so get it. Like, the coolest people actually live there, and I'm like, my God, stop making me feel like shit about myself. I just live in Nashville,
Tennessee.
No, I'm kidding. I love it here, but
I do love it here. I want both, so
I do want both.
I want a place here and I want a place there.
Agree. Anyways, so today, moving on to my personal business.
My stuff.
I woke up this morning, and I've been going to like therapy regularly, and I just love talking about it because everything that she tells me, I just feel like it's eye-opening for just me because I've never done therapy, but it's like so good every time. And right now we're talking about me setting boundaries because I'm like a chronic people pleaser, and it is so bad. And it's like setting boundaries has been like one of the hardest things ever, and I just don't set boundaries because I'm scared of people. And so she was telling me, she was like, well, listen, Shay, like, nobody is gonna be okay with your boundaries. That's why they're called boundaries.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Genuinely expect the pushback, expect people to not be happy with it, because setting it, like, nobody's going to be like, you know what? I completely understand that boundary you're setting, and I respect it, and I'm going to abide by it.
Yeah, it's kind of the whole point of the boundary.
Right.
Because you're putting a boundary up because
they're crossing
you need to put a boundary
They're
up.
crossing it over and over and over again, and then you have to, like, set it. And I'm like, here's my thing is, like, I'll set it and I'll say it once, but, like, I think it's the maintaining it.
Yeah.
that really gets me. And that's what she was kind of like talking to me about today. And it was like very eye-opening because I was like, okay, but like I set the boundary. Yeah. She was like, no, you have to have enough respect for yourself to continuously set
because that's also boundary. Borderline like confrontation.
Right.
I'm bad at that.
It's fully confrontation.
I'm like, I want to say it once and you better remember it because I don't ever want to have this conversation again.
Please don't make me ever
repeat it again.
No, seriously.
I'm unwell. Like the anxiety rash I break out into, the sweats when I have to, I guess, confront someone about setting a boundary.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
It's awful. I think confrontation, but then I think about it and I'm like, I'm not trying to go there, but women have to continuously set boundaries. And I'm like,
it's a constant thing.
Yes.
Every Friday night.
Right.
I do it every Friday night.
Right. I get it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, I don't know why, like, I feel like sometimes I have to like scream it or get like too stern for you to hear me. Like, I don't do that, you know? So like when I'm talking to someone or like I have to set a boundary with like my family or my job or like anything like that, like I feel like I have to go full like, listen here, you know, for me to be heard. You know what I mean? I can't just be like, hey, I don't like that. Don't do that again.
Yeah. See, that's me.
Right.
That is me.
That's so me.
I will say it's so funny because I guess this is kind of setting a boundary, but like when I said like, oh, every Friday night, I thought about it and I was like, yeah, every Friday night, like if someone approaches us and they're like, would love to buy you a drink. Of course. Twist my arm. Buy me a drink. But then I immediately go into like, okay, I have to set a boundary here and cut this guy off or run away when he turns around.
Right away. But they usually never get it.
No. And it's like, and I'm so not confrontational. I would say you're a little bit more confrontational. Maybe it's the liquid courage because I am over here like,
no, I'm like, that'll be all.
And she's like, I'm good. And I'm like, what she said.
So enjoy your night.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Like, I just hate hurting people's feelings.
I know.
I'm just too nice.
We're nice. No, I mean, I just think it's like, I'm so afraid of people being like, I don't like her.
Exactly. Or being like, she's a bitch.
Like, she's a bitch because
I'm not.
I'm really not trying to come off as a bitch. But like at the same time, like I've just realized that like you have to set boundaries way more often in life than I've been doing. And I just like in this whole session, I like got to the point where I was like, I think what it is like, I don't feel like I have enough self-worth to ask this of you too, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like such a, let's unpack. No, I'm kidding.
Welcome to therapy.
But anyways, it was just like I think that's what it really boils down to, especially with like hating confrontation. I feel like a lot of women do not like confrontation.
Well, especially because like a lot of times, at least in scenarios like that, people feel like it could be dangerous or like they could get hurt. So it's like that's why I feel like a lot of people have problems with confrontation, especially when it's like out drinking and or just like being like verbally assaulted by a man, being like you turn them down. And I mean, I've been yelled at before. Like I've been like, no. And then he's like, oh, well, you're not even that hot. And I'm like, didn't ask. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much. That's a whole nother thing. Like, okay, do you think that hurt my feelings?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. You actually just walked up to me and bought me a drink. And now you're saying I'm ugly.
Right.
Thank you. Bye.
No, but I think what it boils down to is like, we don't feel like we're like worthy enough to like set the boundary. And like, you know, it's not, I don't know. I feel like that's really what it boils down to is like, we deserve to be heard and to be respected. You know, my learning of the day was that, and it was actually really powerful. So I hope you guys take something from it. You're worthy and you are allowed to set boundaries for yourself and also make yourself be heard. And that's what I'm telling myself this as well. So
there was, this has actually, I mean, nothing. I guess it could be on a therapy wave. I saw this thing. This guy, actually, I think my friend reposted it. Is that what it's called? Reposted on TikTok. And there was this guy talking about how he read this article that all people need is 8 minutes to realize that like whatever they're dealing with, they're not dealing with it alone. And I found it so interesting because he was telling a story about his friend. She reached out to him and she was like like, hey, like, what are you doing today? Do you want to hang out? And he didn't answer, and a week goes by, and she's like, yeah, I had a really hard week last week. And he was like, why didn't you reach out to me? And she's like, I did. And he went back at his phone and like looked, and he saw that she said, hey, what are you doing? And he was like, a text that like you send me every other day. He was like, how was I supposed to know that this was a cry for help? And she was like, I don't know. And then that's when he was like, she started saying like, I read this article, and apparently people just need 8 minutes of other people's time to know that whatever they're dealing with, they're not dealing with it alone.
Wow.
And like he was like, yeah, and it like 8 minutes is nothing. You can leave a meeting for 8 minutes. You can take a phone call for 8 minutes, whatever you're doing, to just let someone know that whatever stress or anxiety or whatever they're dealing with, they're not dealing with it alone.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's so
8 minutes.
interesting. Yeah. And so he was saying, he was like, if you ever are feeling that way or having a hard time, just text me and say, hey, do you have 8 minutes?
Oh, I love that.
And I was like, that's really sweet.
I love that.
So Shay, you should text me. I know your texts. I can read them.
That reminds me of the TikTok that was like, do you know you have 30 minutes? 30. I've been saying that one way too much. Actually, I just had that same talk with my sisters. Like, I was like, I don't know. It was like, I was just upset about something. And my sister was like, listen, Shay, just text me. Like, text me and I will call you immediately. And she's all the way in Hawaii, and she's like 4 hours ahead of me. And she's like, I don't care what time it is. I'll be up. Like, just text me. And I'm like, I know. Like, why don't I, like, use your support system? Like, I don't,
Yeah. It's like, I'm here. I know when you text me and you're like, hey, like, hey, what are you doing? Or like, hey, can I call you? And I'm like, oh, something's up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I found that so interesting. I guess there's like actually a study on it, like why it's like 8 minutes is like
that's super sweet
in the human brain, like can I guess calm down your anxiety.
Just text me. Hey, do you have 8 minutes?
8 minutes.
That is so sweet.
Isn't that sweet? When he said that, I was like,
yeah, that's so sweet. That's a cool study. I actually want to read up on that.
I think I don't know if it's his book or it was a book.
So is it like 8 minutes to know
to the dot? I'm like 7:59. Sorry, Shay.
But like
go.
8 minutes for the person who's going through something, and you call your friend and you're like, hey, like, and then in 8 minutes you'll understand that you're not alone.
You say you're like, hey, Shannon, like, do you have 8 minutes?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. And we get on a phone call. In 8 minutes in that phone call, you'll suddenly start to probably calm down and realize like whatever you're dealing with, like you have people there for you. You're not doing this alone.
Right.
So it's like it just takes 8 minutes for almost like for your anxiety and stress, it sounds like, to like kind of settle a little.
Okay, I feel like that's so true, because every time I'm like, say I'm like super anxious about like, we went out the night before and I have anxiety. I'm like, all it takes is like literally a
conversation, like
one
short
conversation, and I'm like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's so true. You just need people. Honestly, you just need people to talk you off the ledge sometimes. And it just takes 8 minutes.
And it just takes 8 minutes.
Who knew?
So I made an impulse decision. I went to my sister's Botox appointment. And I literally sat in the corner, the youngest of all of my sisters, and my mom gets Botox, and then Tori gets Botox, and then Rachel gets Botox, and then Peyton gets Botox. And I'm sitting there like,
Mom, can I get Botox?
I was literally like, Mom, I want Botox. It was like literally us in the candy store, except I didn't get a lollipop and Peyton did. Like, so cringe. But I was like, I want it now. Like, you guys are all doing it. And so I didn't really think hard about it. Not a smart move, but they've all trusted this doctor for a while, or this injector for a while.
Oh, well, I would say if you know people that are going to it, an injector, I would trust it.
Yeah. So I literally was just in the corner and I was like, do you think I could use some?
What do you think I need? You're like,
I know. And of course he's not going to be like, nothing, darling.
Yeah, no,
he's going to be like,
rip you apart.
You need that. And
now pick.
Yeah. No, genuinely, he was like, pick, because this is expensive. And I was like,
you can't get it all.
So I sat in the chair and I got my forehead, my scrunch used to be really bad. I'm like my little scrunch. It used to be super bad. And I'm also like very like, this. I'm
so expressive.
So expressive with my face. So like I've just got, I probably was going to get wrinkles very soon anyway. But anyways. And then I got it here, which this is interesting because I have like a brown.
Wait, I'm sorry. That killed me when it started kicking in. Shay, we were somewhere and you like suddenly felt it and you were like, You're like, wait, I can't move my face.
I literally, and it's been the
Where
greatest
were
thing
we
ever.
that we were like sitting somewhere and you were like, it just kicked in. I felt like I looked weird. And
Oh, I don't remember, but it was like the first thing I noticed was every time I would try and laugh and talk, I couldn't do it. And I would be like, oh, and I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Like, I can't do this anymore.
And he was like, and the injector was like, you know what? It's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to feel weird at first, but you'll get used to it. I'm sitting over here, like genuinely like paralyzed from the lip down. And I'm like, I can't spit. I can't sip out of a straw.
Oh, yeah, you can't do.
No, I can't laugh. No, I'm kidding. I can laugh.
I can't laugh.
No, I know. But
It's like that TikTok where people laugh without smiling.
no, yeah. And I'm like, but it's all in the frown. And honestly, looking at my mom, she gets it too. And I'm like, okay, I get that from you, sister.
So that is the one thing is, sorry, Chris, you don't listen to this podcast, but I got Botox because of Chris.
Your family? We're just chewing them up.
I saw Chris, he late 20s going into 30s, and I looked at his forehead and I said, that ain't gonna be me.
Girl.
Sorry if we clip this. Sorry, Chris.
It's all peace and love.
You honestly made me a better person.
Yeah. You know what?
No
and
wrinkles.
then she made me a better person.
Look at
because
that.
of
You helped us both.
Yeah, it's the ladder and we're all climbing it.
Yeah. But it's funny how you look at your family and
Yeah.
you're like, wait, so like that's what I'm
Right.
in for.
No, and my mom has like these frown, we're like the cringy like smiles,
Yeah,
the
the
frown
stank
smiles.
face.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I have that. And like when I'm like resting my face, it's just always sad, which I can't do it anymore. But anyways, so I saw my mom get that and I was like, okay, maybe I can try that. Like, we'll see. Turns out I really do like it. I've gotten used to it. It's not that bad. And I genuinely, okay, you told me this. You were like, when you get Botox and then when it kicks in, it feels so good to put on your makeup.
Oh my God. It is like, it's the best thing ever. It's like, I have the clearest skin. It's like
glass skin. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Your forehead.
And actually, okay, so let's clarify too, because somebody asked me, they were like, wait, but you're when it dissolves, you're gonna get wrinkles. And I was like, Botox and filler are so different.
Yeah. Very different things.
Very different. Like,
trust me, I know.
Botox just relaxes the muscle.
Yes.
That's all that it does. It doesn't change your facial structure. It just relaxes the muscle.
Just freezes your face.
Right. And you don't want to do too much of it because I do like to be expressive. And
Same.
So I only got it in those two spots and like genuinely little tiny, like barely anything, just enough for me to be like, okay, this,
You got the starter kit.
Right. I got the starter kit. So
Someone called baby Botox.
yes, it's baby Botox. And so filler is when they're actually putting something in there to change the shape of your lips, of your nose, of your eyes, whatever it is,
And that's where you run into the problem sometimes of like you hear people talking about migration of your filler and it going to different parts of your face. And that
right. And it can also stretch your skin a little bit. And so when you get it removed, it can kind of make your skin like a raisin a little bit. It's a little bit. So those are the differences if you didn't know that. But I've just relaxed a little bit of my muscles in my face and I'm enjoying it.
it's I love it. I'm addicted.
I get it.
And I like how how people get tattoos
Yep.
and they're like, oh, it's addicting. I'm like, that's how I feel about Botox.
Yeah.
Like it is truly an addiction that you got to reel in. Like I can see how people go overboard because you see one thing and you're like, oh my God, I got to fix it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like,
see,
slow it down.
I only got it because I felt left out.
It's like, dang, everyone else is getting Botox.
I genuinely
Why can't
was like, I don't need it. I was like, I don't need it yet. And then I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So like everybody I know has it. And I was like, I'm just going to try it. And it only lasts like 3 months. And genuinely, I get it now.
I know. It's nice.
Okay, when you get it done though, is it so painful or is it just me? I was shaking in my boots. I was shaking in my boots. That needle's literally not even a centimeter. Not even a centimeter. And I was literally like...
I mean, I
crying.
take like deep breaths when I get my Botox, but it doesn't hurt that bad.
Well, all of my sisters were just like, nothing was going on. Yeah. And I got up there and I was literally like...
It's like a little like... And then I'm like... Oh. And it's like... Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? It's like,
The pain, that's how I describe it. It's like, and then like, oh.
Perfect.
And
yeah.
Oh. And then that over and over again for 13.
That's the thing. I think
more.
that's what it is. It's because it's like like so many, and I'm like, please stop.
I know.
Yeah.
You know what's the worst for me is, did you get this right here?
No. It's like such sensitive skin right there.
It's just so sensitive, and it's like also you can literally just out of your peripheral see a needle, and I'm literally like, are you sure you're going in the right spot?
Just poke it in my eye, relax my eye, and I'm just like lazy eye.
I always get bruises. That's where I get a bruise. Because other than that, I don't. Knock on wood. I hate getting bruising from Botox.
Yeah, I didn't. But anyways, that is my newest beauty secret, I guess.
Botox.
I didn't post about it because like I genuinely had no idea I was gonna go get it done. And then I did, and I was like, I just want to wait and see how I like it. And also, people are so weird about getting anything done. So
yeah,
like when I had like
you had your boobs done. Botox is like child's play.
Right. Like I was fully under the knife. But when I got that done, I remember being like, I got so much backlash and like
getting your boobs done?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, people
are insane about it, and I'm like, I don't really give a shit. Like, it's not your body. Like, why do you care?
Yeah. Also, like you did it for like other reasons. I mean, obviously for like aesthetic reasons too, played into it, but like you did it for other reasons
for sure. But do you remember when you were like younger and like when somebody got like plastic surgery, it was like
it was so taboo in the 2000s. It was like,
oh, like, did you hear? And like nobody came out with it.
Got Botox.
I don't remember, but I remember watching Pamela Anderson on the news tell everybody that she got her boobs done, which like,
yeah, come on.
Anyway, and she was like, she had absolutely no problem with it. She was like, yeah, I got them done. And people were like, oh my God.
She changed her body.
She's like, what do you mean? Like, what? And it was just so like such a big deal back then. I kind of remember that, and that's why I think
it would always be like on the front of magazines of like
yeah,
Pamela Anderson boob job. Yeah. And it's a picture from like Playboy in a bikini.
Yeah,
and it's like yeah,
and I'm like,
those are fake.
Damn. And they are. But anyway, I just remember that was like such a confidence boost, though. Her just being so nonchalant, like, yeah. And everybody's
what's
like,
the problem?
Oh my God. You know, just so weird. And somebody even asking that on an interview is crazy.
Her interviews were crazy. Like some of them come up on my TikTok, and I'm just like, why would anyone ever I don't care to know some things too.
There are some things you don't have to ask. Like, sure, we want to know, but like not that bad.
Not on like a late night show.
No.
Like, that's just weird.
Yeah. I'm glad we have like better hosts nowadays, because I feel like hosts of like TV shows like that almost were like so crazy with how they asked questions and
they were just trying to like pull the information out of them.
And it was just like icky, but now they're like, what's your hidden secret, or what's your hidden talent? And it's like kind of it's actually fun.
It's fun to watch. To me, I'm like, they're fun to watch because they're playing games, and they're like, you get to know the famous person on a more like personal level.
I love
Yeah.
I love the ones where they're like having to eat gross foods or answer a question about like their best friends, and I'm like,
that one always gets me.
Always. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? That reminds me of like, I think Timothée Chalamet is actually doing Saturday Night Live this Saturday. Did you see his promo?
Oh,
I loved it.
God.
I scroll TikTok in the shower. Sue me. I was in the shower, and I literally was just like, I don't know why I had to tell anyone that I was in the shower, but I just did.
I stay scrolling in the shower.
Well, now you all know I was in the shower when I saw this, and I was literally dying. I was like, they got all of the Timothy lookalikes from the Timothy lookalike contest
in New York
to promote the SNL.
But it's the way that like literally none of them look like Timothy.
None of them look like
none of them.
And it was killing me where the part where he's like, oh God, I'm supposed to be on Jimmy Fallon. And he was like,
it was so genius.
And then they pull out the other Timmy and
then there's like four of these guys who are like, who the fuck knows them from New York? And I'm like, that is so cool. Like like random.
Yep. And they're just like, I randomly showed up to this Timothy contest because it was funny, or like my friends made me do it, and now I'm on SNL.
That's so freaking genius.
It's
the
like
marketing too. And I'm like, did everybody see it or was it just a TikTok thing? That's what my first thought was.
Oh, like if people who don't have TikTok, they're like, why are there a bunch of these random guys that don't really look like him?
I don't get it at all.
Do we actually think I'd be like, who thinks they look like him?
The only reason I knew who it was because the Willy Wonka guy. That's who was embedded in my brain at the contest. Anyways, because I was like, he looks familiar, and then I was like, no shit. Like,
that's great. Like, honestly, props to Saturday Night Live for doing that because it's so funny.
Timmy's funny.
So funny.
God,
I'm telling you, I love him.
I know.
And I feel like how you feel about Paul Mescal is low-key kind of how I feel about Timothée Chalamet. Like, I love a man with some good humor.
I love a man with an Irish accent.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's embedded in me.
You know what I said recently is that my type. I said if you looked it up in a dictionary, it's just Drew Starkey. I randomly said that one day, and I was like, when have I ever like? Drew Starkey, a very attractive man for sure. And he's my type
for sure.
But I also was like so random of me to say because I also love Timothée Chalamet.
Right. Totally opposite.
Do I? I don't even have a type.
You don't have a type, and that's okay. Just like somebody with a big ego is what we've decided.
Big ego and funny.
Funny.
If you can take over a room,
right?
I love it.
Done.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's hilarious. I can't believe we both were like on the same page with that.
Literally, I was just like, oh. Whoa.
So genius.
Sorry, everyone. I just screamed in the microphone.
It's okay. I stay screaming this mic. I genuinely stay screaming.
We were talking about hosts and asking crazy questions, and I saw this thing the other day. There's people, I'd say my age, I'm millennial Gen Z, you're Gen Z. Millennials are suddenly leaving Alex Cooper in the dust.
Wait, this? Oh no.
They're like, not like hating on her or anything, they're just kind of saying like, you're losing your millennial audience here because you're kind of going very heavy into the Gen Z, and the millennials, like this one girl was talking about how she was like, I love listening to Call Her Daddy. Like, she was like, I started listening in 2019, like the beginning, like raunchy stuff. It was so fun when I was in my 20s. And she was like, and I grew up, like, she's like, I'm the same age. She's like, I'm 30.
Yeah.
And I guess Alex Cooper's 29. She's like, I'm the same age as Alex Cooper, basically. And I love her. There's no hate. But she was like, when she hosted the Olympics, I was like, yes, I love this. She's talking about soccer because she was a soccer player. And it's just so awesome to see like just a strong, independent female like in the sports world and like just talking and like doing her own business and like all this stuff. And then she was like, and then I'm listening to these interviews and I want to hear about these people and all their lives. And it's so interesting. And then she hits me with where's the craziest place you've had sex? And she goes, and that's when you start losing me. And she's like, I don't really care. And I was like,
that's not where our heads are at anymore.
I was like, I guess I can relate to that. Like, I don't really care about like the sexual part of Call Her Daddy. I do care about hearing about like people's lives and like, I was like, that is so true. But so I guess it's like a lot of people in their 30s are saying like they're leaving the Call Her Daddy.
I completely understand that because as like a creator, you kind of like when you start something and it blows up really big, you kind of always revert back to it because it's like, oh, well, that's like what people liked.
That's what she started off as too.
Right.
So,
and now that I'm thinking about it, now that you're saying it, like all of like the Gluck Gluck 3, that is so millennial.
Oh my God, literally. Like I'm
like millennial jokes nowadays, I'm like cringe, but it's so like it's so that.
It's so that. And it's so crazy because I was just like, wait, that's so true because this girl, she's like, I grew up listening to it. She was in college. And like, I mean, me kind of too. I'm almost 28, but like I didn't start listening to it till I was out of college and I just listened to it on my commute to New York. So I was just kind of like,
yeah.
Also a weird thing to be listening to and there's like 30 people around you and you're just like, no.
For sure.
But it's just very interesting. So I was like, yeah, I guess like they are kind of growing out of it. But then there's also, you have to think about the flip side of it is that Alex Cooper does have to stay in the Gen Z era sort of.
I don't think she does. she has a big enough audience now that she can really, and if you think about it, she's now a married woman.
Yeah.
She's got dogs. She's got a house. She's got a husband. She's like talking about kids and things like that. Like she is at a different point in her life. Like we want to evolve with that too.
That's the thing. I think the bigger picture is like everyone wants to evolve, like her to evolve and not revert back to the, what's the craziest place you've had sex? The gluck and like all that stuff. That's like, please, like evolve. Talk about getting married and being married and your dogs and are you gonna have kids? Like, are you guys not having kids? Is that a conversation? Like that kind of stuff.
It is truly special to go through the life with somebody because going from your 20s and then like going through this whole journey and like relating to like the same things and like the same age and stuff like that. Like there's something special about it, and like I think that would be really smart of her to do.
I do too. And to my going back to what I said about her having to relate to Gen Z, she does not have to relate to Gen Z because she has the Unwell network. She can hire and, you know, bring on people that do the relating to Gen Z for her. Like she no longer has to do that.
Right.
But that's the thing that she can use so that she doesn't have to revert back to these like sexual conversations.
Like she can use now she can use Cheers with Avery Woods for the Gen Z because she's very Gen Z. And, you know, like, I just feel like I agree with you on that. Like, you don't really have to. She's got a big enough audience. She's got a big enough thing. And it would be nice to, like, talk about married life. And I guess I haven't listened to, like, her single podcasts. I've only really listened to interviews, but
I don't. Well, so that's the thing. It's like when this girl was talking about it, I was like, I don't really listen to Call Her Daddy anymore unless it's an interview with someone that I'm, like,
interested about.
Wow, I really want to know. Like, but so yeah, it's just, and I don't listen to her single ones anymore.
Yeah.
So it just like, yeah, it kind of grew out of it too.
I think so too. And that sucks. But you know what? A good example.
That sucks.
And that sucks. A good example of like somebody who I feel like in the industry has like grown is, and she's very controversial, but Alex Earl. I feel like
Alex Earl is very much evolved. Like we're watching her evolve.
And it's so, honestly, I've loved her from the beginning.
I appreciate it a lot, honestly. And she's younger than me.
Going from, and going from like party girl era to like having a scholarship and doing like these major like, you know, fun to, like, foundations and things like that. And it's like, she's not like having the puke dress anymore, you know, like she's like really changing.
Like actually watched her go to college, college it, grow up. Now she's in her 20s.
Yeah.
And she's out of school. And it's just like she's maneuvering life.
And like I loved seeing her big sister like TikToks and things like that. Like she's the responsible big sister
like babysitting her little siblings and stuff. I'm just like, I like watching people evolve. I think that's just like why people like social media in general, because like you don't want to see the same thing over and over and over and over again. And like watching someone evolve over time, like it's crazy. We've been watching her for like 5 years.
It's like COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's there's also something comforting about watching someone grow up.
I know. And like that's what really hooks you into that person, you know? And that's what keeps you hooked onto that person. Like, oh, well, what's next for you? Like the whole marriage thing, the whole this thing. Like,
well, that's the thing. It's like Alex Earl, I know we're all like, so her and Braxton.
I know.
Well, how is that going to... So it's like, you just watch her whole life. Kind of feel like a little bit like a stalker, but...
Well, they're giving it to us.
She gives it to me.
I know. I wish that I could be more personal online, but I'm too scared of that. Like, I don't think I could.
I can't even talk to a camera.
We're doing it right now.
We're doing it right now. I can't do it by myself. You know, every time I go to do it, I turn into a different person. And I like start talking, and then I watch it back, and I'm like, that's not how I talk.
No, as soon as I can be real with you guys on this platform is the day that it's going to like, because like I can like, genuinely right now I'm too scared to be completely authentic, whereas some people can come on here and shoot the shit and
they
not
don't even care. Let me tell you, when you get real,
when we get real,
there's something I really want to get real about.
Yeah.
That happened. You know, well, not that thing. I'm talking about the more serious.
Right.
Serious thing that I feel like I can't talk about.
In time, for sure. In time.
That one needs time to pass, so we get everything cleared.
In time. But I feel like we're just like dipping our toes still, and we're kind of getting more comfortable with you guys. And like, you know, talking about our things. But like we are like as real as we can be at the moment, I feel like. But I'm excited for when we really get like personal on here and like we really have an audience where we're like, okay, they really want to know, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah. And like you guys will come back for our tea. So I don't know if I'm only seeing this on TikTok. I think it's TikTok. Wherever I'm seeing these videos, I'm seeing these people talk about the thing to do now is instead of moving into a house with your significant other, you move in with your friends. You see people doing these like compound things.
Right.
And they have like all their friends, whether they all live in the same house or they live like literally in the houses next door to everyone. And they have all their kids. And it's literally just like their friends. And I mean, honestly, something so true about that is you think about you're dating someone. Say they get a job somewhere. And it's like, say you live in Nashville, right? They get a job in Texas. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay, do I love this person enough where I'm going to move to Texas? You've been dating for a couple of years. You're like, okay, I'll move to Texas. Flip the script. Your friend looks at you and says, I have a job and it's in Texas. You're like, oh no, like, I'm so sorry. Not a thought in your mind. You're not moving for your friend.
Right.
Why?
Which you've been friends with for probably 15 years.
Yeah. But I'm going to move for some Joe Schmo.
Right.
That I met 2 years ago.
Let's go explore Texas.
Isn't that weird? I don't know why I was like.
No, that actually is a good like perspective to take on it. Right. Because it's like, what do I just have to sit here and say goodbye?
I've known you for my entire life, basically.
My entire life. This is like me with Abby. Like, first of all, that girl lives in a van and she's everywhere.
She lives everywhere.
She lives everywhere, and so I couldn't keep up if I tried. But like, it was so sad when it was like okay, you're going to you're going to college, and I'm like, you know, it was so. I've known you since I was a child.
It's a crazy thing. So I think about like even like Aisha. I'm like, I said, bye. I'm moving to Nashville.
You want to come?
She had a husband, so I mean. Sure there was something holding her back there a little bit, but I literally was like, what an interesting concept,
right?
That like we don't move for friends, but we'll move for boys.
I think a friend compound or like just like a neighborhood where you guys all go. That is so genius because imagine a life where you and all your friends are on the street. We all have kids. We all have husbands. We're like, God, the kids are asleep. I can't stand my husband right now. I'm coming over for a glass of wine. Kick your husband out.
Yeah, go to her house.
And just walk and like do little bonfires in your driveway. That's just like dreamy. That's a dream. If I'll say it.
That's a dream.
And I'm going to say it.
And the selfish part of me is like, I want to gather all of my friends.
Yeah.
And I want to put them all in a neighborhood together and meet each other and get along.
Okay, it might be a little far to say this, but imagine the house you can buy.
Dude.
With everybody.
Dude.
Like fucking huge.
We could build the house. Yeah. And we just have like little sky bridges in between each house.
And it's like, listen, I'm cool with you blasting music. I don't give a damn.
Because if you're blasting music, I'm probably dancing to it.
I'm probably in the bathroom doing my makeup like,
I'm like, oh, that's a good song.
Right.
I'll text you. I'll be like, hey,
I agree.
Denial's a river next.
I always am like, I want my sisters and I to move on to a compound, like a family compound. Because like, dude, I want to take my little golf cart over to my mom, drop my kid off, and then go back and do whatever I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, it just sounds nice.
It sounds nice.
Like, hey, Peyton, I'm coming over.
Hey, I'll be there in a...
You want to make cookies?
Oh, God. I'll bring the cookies.
I know. Speaking of TikTok, the TikTok ban.
Oh, my God, I'm dying. I'm dying. Are you doing okay?
You know what, Shannon? It was so embarrassing.
The way a tear fell from my eye when I read this.
I literally... Okay, first of all, I'm going to start from the beginning.
Yeah, go for it.
I've been in denial for fucking ages, dude.
Honestly, same though.
I've been like, no way, I don't give a damn. Like, I don't believe it. You guys are all conspiracy theorists.
I kept going, something's going to happen and it's not going away.
Meanwhile, bills are getting signed, bitch. I mean, like,
they're like, February 19th, it's gone. And I'm like, no.
It's like, it's happening. And I'm just like, no. And so that's my mindset. And so then I go on TikTok on Saturday night. and I'm like scrolling through all of mine because it's like the countdown's on, you know what I mean? And I'm scrolling through my TikTok, going through my old videos, and I'm just like, and I look at my sister and I cannot, have you ever cried and you can't help it? Like tears are just flowing, and I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I can't stop this.
I don't know what to do.
And Peyton's like my emotional support. She's like, okay, we're gonna purpose plan. We're gonna plan your life. Like, we're gonna figure out what to do next. You know, whatever. And I'm like, Peyton, I just need to go to bed. And I go to bed, and it's like that one thing where it's like,
literally,
like genuinely. And so the next day, I get an email in the morning, and it's like from CNN. Claire, you're my girl from CNN. What up, girl? She's like, hey, can we do an interview? And me being just like so unserious. It's not that I don't mean to, but like it was like a phone call. And so she calls me and I'm like on the phone. It's like I'm on my phone with my friend. I'm just like, yeah, you know, it's total shit. I feel like I've lost my job. I feel like I've lost my community. You know, just like diving in on like how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the middle of the phone call, she's like, okay, I think that I have to go because TikTok's back. And I was like, what? And so TikTok came back a whole 12 hours later.
Dude.
Grow up, everybody. How about that? How about get your shit together, United States?
We were right.
We were right.
To not. We were like, it's not going anywhere. And then it left and I went.
You know what? I'm so glad that I wasn't one of those bitches that did a whole
goodbye
TikTok. Like, thank God. Because
thank God you were so like unbothered by it.
I know.
There was, I'm not gonna lie. Was it rude of them to ban it before midnight? Yeah.
So fucking cruel.
Like, I'm sorry.
It's a cruel and unusual punishment.
Who's early to that game?
On a weekend?
I was scrolling and I took a moment. Sue me. I took a moment. I put my phone down. I exited out of the app. I try to go back. It says sorry.
Oh.
Sorry.
And
I said, I skim. I don't read. I skim and I go, oh my God, okay. That's awful. And I see 2 buttons at the bottom. My brain goes, close. Like, close this window.
So let me scroll. Get out of my face.
And I go, okay, cool. I know it's banned. I know it's getting banned. Like, chill out. Everyone calm down. I have a couple more hours. I hit close. It says close app. I hit close app. And I go,
yep,
that's weird. Why did it close out? I open it back up. I have the message. And I go, that's annoying. Close.
Yeah.
App. Close app. And I go, oh my God. I was like, what is wrong? My app, it like won't let me scroll.
Even when it was happening, I was in denial.
Yeah, my dumbass was like, oh, it says close app, not close.
Yep.
This whole time I was like, close the window.
Denial is a river.
Denial is a river. And that's the river I was lying in right there.
I'm just like, how fucking crazy are you to take that away from me? Who gave you the right? Who gave you the right?
Why?
I literally was baffled. I never don't get anything that I want. I never get told no. And TikTok, that's my biggest thing.
The way I was walking around, like TikTok is doing wonders.
Yeah.
How dare you? Like the way I was walking around, like I was advocating for it. Also still in denial, being like, you guys are crazy. TikTok's doing wonders. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
Like if they get rid of it, that's crazy.
Right.
And then everyone's like, it's going away. And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's not.
And then when was it Saturday night or
Sunday? It came back.
Sunday it came back. So Saturday night when I was scrolling, I had my little mental breakdown a little bit because I realized on my TikTok during COVID, my dad retired during COVID or before COVID. Aww. And I was living at home with my parents and all me and my dad did was film TikToks and make TikToks. And I realized, I was like, oh my God, wait. I was like, wait, I'm not going to have any of these videos anymore. And I started to like panic and I was like, okay, I got to save them. And that's when the app shut down.
See, that's what I did.
And I literally was like, okay, I'll just cry myself to the rest of eternity.
There's nothing else I can do except for cry myself to sleep.
I was like, all of these videos are now just gone. It's like a weird thought. Like, I don't know, like even thinking about Instagram going away, like there's so much on there that I don't have on.
We've lived full lives, I feel like, on this app. Like I remember COVID, I was like doing my little dances and shit. And it's been like 5 years, and that's like such a long time, and I've done so much and grown so much, and it's like, it was so sad. I was shattered. But anyways, I do want to finish my story with CNN.
Oh, yes.
Because.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Oh, my God. The part that made me crack up.
You're right. So I found out that TikTok was back at the end of the first phone call, right? And so it comes back, and I'm just like skipping around, snapping my fucking fingers, you know, throwing Rome up in the air. It was a beautiful moment. Then she texted me, Claire from CNN, and she was like, hey, I'd love to chat again and like get more of an insight of this roller coaster of a day, pretty much. And so we get back on the phone, and like, you know, I was shooting the shit, but I was also like talking about like women in business and how like women are absolutely dominating like careers in their jobs on TikTok, and that being so disposable is so messed up and so scary. Anyways, so I was talking about so much stuff. I was actually very insightful. I feel
there was so much she said.
So much I said. Guess what the quote that they put in there was? And I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you guys, because what the hell is my first question. And my second question is why? Like, genuinely, you could have picked anything, and this is what it said. Quote unquote.
Can't.
Quote unquote. I was fully crying myself to sleep last night because it was just so sad. And I felt like I'd just lost a whole community and a job. Influencer Shay Sullivan, who has 1.1 million followers on TikTok, told CNN on Sunday. Now I'm just overjoyed, and I'm having the best day. It was definitely a roller coaster. Here's my first thing. Be fucking for real, actually. Be so for real. I was so insightful. I had so much to say. And that's what you chose, Claire.
I cried myself to sleep, but then I woke up in the happiest day ever.
I sound like a kid who like is getting out for a snow day.
Literally.
Like, what do you mean? So anyway.
When I saw, I think it was your TikTok, I actually cackled. I was like, shut up. That's the quote. The quote.
I
cried myself.
I fully cried myself to sleep last night. Like, okay, so Claire
Influencer Shay with 1.1 million followers.
So Claire from CNN has it out for me. And I got off that phone call, and my sisters were like, how did it go? And I was like, guys, it was so good. And then that's what came out of it. Yeah. So thank you guys so much. I am now famous on the news as well.
Yes, she is.
Anyways,
So all this talk about losing jobs and getting jobs and jobs, this is my transition to me to talk about my favorite show on the television right now that I can't stop obsessing over, that no one else has watched around me, that I can't talk to about.
Sorry.
It's Severance. And I know that everyone is probably, if you're listening to this, you're probably like, oh my God, everyone is talking about Severance. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
You're right. People are talking. It is so good. I don't care. You sit your ass down on that couch and you watch 3 to 4 episodes and you get through those long, boring episodes.
Here's my thing with that. Somebody said to get to episode 9.
Wait, of Severance?
Yes.
I mean,
they were like, just wait. Like episode 9 is where it gets really good. And I'm like, what? Well, I don't think I can wait that long.
Episode 9 is like where you'll be like, oh my God. Because that's like that's like the last episode of season 1.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to watch a whole entire season just to like get excited about it.
I'd say like I will say episode 1 is, okay, so let me back up. The whole point of the show is basically there's this technology where you can get this job at this company called Lumen, and they do this private work. So basically, to have a job at this company, you have to get your brain severed, which basically when you go to work, you're this work person, and then you go up the elevator and you leave and you're your own person. You're your other person.
Isn't that something?
They call it your innie and your outie.
That's like working in America.
So that's the thing, is like, it's the whole show, you don't really know what's going on, and that's kind of the whole point. Mm-hmm. But that's what makes it so fun.
Okay.
And that's what makes all the twists like,
yeah.
Oh my God, like figuring it out at the same time is so fun. But I will say, like, you just gotta watch, like, I think I started really getting into it in like the third episode where I was like, okay, this is kind of getting interesting.
Right.
Like I'm intrigued now.
Okay.
And then the end of season 1, I was fully standing up on my couch like, oh my God.
Oh, I love a show like that.
And I was just like, the twist is so
I
so
love
good.
a twist. Okay. Oh, I want to watch that so bad.
You just got to commit. You just got to sit down and commit, and you got to watch it because it's not a phone show.
I know, and that's my problem.
If it's boring, I go on my phone too, and then I quite literally have caught myself being like, "No, you're watching.
Watch it." Is that what people told you?
I strap myself down.
You have like somebody feeding you chips.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't move. One distraction, I'm like out of the show.
Okay. I mean, I have like a love-hate relationship with shows like that. Like sometimes I just want like a brain rot kind of show, but at the same time, like when I get into it, I'm like, but you have to kind of pull me in. I can't do that on my own. It's like working out. I need a coach.
It's tough. I'll sit down next to you and I'll go, watch.
Pay attention.
Oh, this is important. It's important. Did you hear her? It's coming. I'm like, you didn't hear her. 10 seconds.
Dude,
backwards.
that is so that's like if you were to ever watch Game of Thrones with me, dude, I'd be like,
you'd be like, did you see that? And I'd be
yeah.
like, oh no. And you'd be like, we gotta rewind it. Rewind it.
He was beheaded. You saw that, right?
You saw it?
Beheaded. Yeah. If you know, you know.
But yeah, no. So I highly recommend Severance.
Okay.
And there's just a lot of like, it's a lot of conspiracy theory type show too right now. So that's like, I have no one to talk to about this.
So your shit too.
And I'm literally like, oh my God, like there's such a good theory out there and I want to talk to someone about it, but I can't. But I will say,
I'll do that for you. I'll watch it for you.
Thank you. I will say, the guy who wrote the show, I don't know his name, I'm so sorry, but he wrote this at his like office 9-to-5 job, which is really
Shut
funny.
up. I love a story like that.
And then I'm pretty sure that Ben Stiller is the one that picked it up and then produced it.
I love that shit. That makes me so happy.
Yeah. So I will say there's a lot of like little facts about it that are really interesting. And Ben Stiller, what actually not put me on the show, what put me on the show was going to this wedding this past week and everyone was talking about Severance. So I was like, okay, I got to watch this show. But I saw before I went to the wedding, they did their like campaign for season 2 was in Grand Central Station. And they basically put the show.
Wait, I saw that.
And it was like 4 people in cubicle. Like
it was actually
cubicles.
him too.
And it was all the actual actors. And Ben Stiller looks like the proudest dad, horizontal filming.
Oh,
outside I literally was like, I love this.
I
this
love
is
it.
So funny.
That's honestly genius too.
It was a cool like little marketing thing. But
speaking of twists, we're gonna dive a little bit into books. Okay.
Ew, we got a little nerd on our hands.
We got a little book lover. It's not even like nerdy, dude. It's like full blown entertainment, and you just have to read it. And like that's just I'm not learning anything.
No self-helps.
No self-help. Okay, but there's a third book that just came out this week. It's called Onyx Storm. It's of like the Fourth Wing series. And the twist at the end, dude, I haven't started it yet. I've got it like waiting on my Kindle for when I'm not busy and I'm just going to feel like binge that shit. But the twist at the end, dude, oh my God. Like I love a romance. And my biggest fear with this, and if you know, I'm so scared that they're going to be lovers to enemies. Like, I can't handle that.
Lovers to enemies?
Right. Well, they were enemies at first, and then they became lovers.
Well, we can't go back.
But that's my thing. What if they do? I'd
be pissed.
I don't like...
I read this book.
Dude, I don't like having somebody have this much power over my emotional state, because the author, if you make them enemies... I will find you.
She'll be your enemy.
No, it's like so good. It's like a whole dragon book. It's so fucking fire.
I feel like I know the book cover.
Yeah. So anyways, it's like I've had this on my calendar for 5 months straight. Like genuinely so crazy about it. But I'm so excited to read it, and I will keep you book lovers updated on my thoughts and feelings. So
that's your book. My book. I've been out the game for a minute. I do love a Frida McFadden book, though. They're a bunch of like thriller.
Oh, I do love that.
Yeah.
The
Housemaid is Frida McFadden.
Okay, yeah. I was actually, we already talked about the Housemaid.
Did you read The Housemaid?
No,
but so good.
It reminds me of Verity. Have you seen the cast for Verity?
Oh,
wait, girl. Have you've read it, right?
Sweeney?
Nope.
No,
that's
The Housemaid.
This is
Sydney Sweeney, Amanda Seyfried is Housemaid.
Verity is Dakota Johnson, fucking Anne Hathaway.
Right, I did see this.
Oh,
I love
Dakota Johnson and Anne Hathaway, dude. Are you for real?
That's a good cast.
And the cast for those two, that genuinely is spot on for me. I'll have to say it. Like Anne Hathaway being Verity, and then the other one being, I forgot her name, but like, oh my god, I'm going to be like jumping out of my seat.
Also, let's do a good job.
Let's do a
good job on this one.
Let's not ruin this for me, but
let's
also
not ruin it. Besides, let's just make it a movie. Mm-hmm. Everyone do the marketing. Everyone be happy and love each other.
Right. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait till they make a Fourth Wing movie or show. But like, here's my thing: is like,
they're gonna ruin it.
I feel like they're gonna ruin it.
Yeah, I don't even need to because like I feel like fantasy's so hard.
You either have to go Game of Thrones level, or you're like the new Percy Jackson level.
That's
you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's where I'm at with that. But I mean, if they fuck it up, just like, you know, I'm calling it for that. I'm done.
No, you can't watch it because then it'll ruin the book.
It'll ruin it for me. Yeah. And like, I can't look at somebody on the TV and like that be who I've pictured all this time. No.
Have I ever talked about on here? I feel like I have, which this resonated with me so much because I read a lot of like thriller horror books. And
wait, sorry, before you finish, I just saw that it is scientifically proven that it is strange that people relax to horror and murder in. And here you are. Sorry.
I love a thriller. I love a horror. And that's what I read. That's only what I read, actually. Like, there's no other. Like, my book stack is like, it's like Killer. The Housemaid, Verity, like Pretty Girls. Like, they're all.
Her arms were cut off. Her legs were cut off.
The Silent Patient. It's like all red and black books.
All fire-ass books, though.
They're all good books.
Yeah.
Anyways, I feel like I've talked about this on here before, but it just resonated with me so much that I always bring it up, is that books are so much better than movies because the human can imagine things so much, like killing.
Endless.
Our brain imagines it like way worse. Love scenes, we imagine it way better, and then when they depict it on screen, we're like, well, that's not what I thought.
That's not what I was thinking. Here's my thing, though, is like it takes a special kind of person to create a world in my mind. I think world building is like the hardest thing to write, because if it's just like the house is the scene and that's it, then there's only really so much that I can really get into. But like the things I'm reading are like world building fucking books, and it's like crazy because it's this whole book in my world in my imagination.
Maybe that, and it's like just too dumb. No, I'm joking.
No, oh my god! But I'm saying
I just can't get like my brain. Game of Thrones, I think I have a hard time with that too, because it's a whole world with all the different.
It is a world,
and you know what it is,
and you know what you're missing out.
Well, it's the same thing with like Severance. Is I can't scroll.
Right.
You just got to sit down and.
You gotta sit down and pay attention.
And that's the problem. I never could do that. And no one was strapping me down to the couch. So
I'll strap your ass down for Game of Thrones.
I got one more show.
Ooh, go.
That for my lovely friends and fans who like reality television. And even for the ones that don't, because if there is one reality television show that you should watch, it's Traitors.
Okay. I've heard about this before.
Because oh my god, the lore in that show is just it's a game show, and there's just so much conniving and backstabbing and twisting and turning and manipulating, and I just love it. I love it.
Sounds like fucking Hunger Games.
Oh, it's so fun. It is so fun to watch. Like the last episode, if you are watching Traitors, the last episode, I audibly was like screaming on my TV going, "Do it!" Do it.
We're insane.
I'm insane when it comes to TV.
Like, I feel like when it comes to our entertainment, dude, like we do not mess around. And like,
no. Also, I'm sorry for screaming so much.
I freaking do. I'm like, I just want to like grab this and be like, ah, because I get so excited about these things.
Yeah.
But okay, I want to watch that for sure. I feel
Traitors is fun. I think there's only like 3 or 4 episodes out now. So just.
But I feel like a game show is kind of like a rotting show. Like you kind of are like,
oh yeah, you
you
can rot to this for sure.
Yeah.
And then like once you're like, oh, the person who's manipulating is on the TV. I'm like,
right.
what are you doing next?
I feel like I'm going to have way more time right now to watch TV anyway, because it's just like 9 degrees outside, and I'm like, what else am I going to do?
Well, not this Saturday.
I've got a list. Not this Saturday.
Not this Saturday.
Nope. Well, I feel like we dived into a lot. We've missed you guys again. I promise we're coming back. We will be coming back next week.
Yeah. No more traveling and messing around.
Right. Well, maybe. But not
when we film. Messing around.
Right. Yeah. So we're definitely going to see you guys next week for sure. I'm going to read my book. I'm going to probably try and watch those shows because I have nothing else to do right now. So we'll come back.
She will.
I will be doing that.
I need to talk about Severance.
I know. Okay, when we can dive into it, it'll be exciting.
I'm like gonna cry when I can talk about when I tell you no one around me has watched it, that I'm like,
oh, you're like, please.
I'm like bursting at the seams.
Right, I know, and it'll be fun to do it on here too.
Yeah.
So we'll be back. We're gonna update you guys on the things we've watched, on the things that we've been doing. And I'm gonna let you finish it off, girl, because you know it.
Oh, rusty, but don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Leave us 5 stars on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram
and TikTok
at See You Next Tuesday 1T pod.
And DM us.
What else can you do? I don't know.
Anything. Let's shoot the shit. Okay.
Comment on something. I don't know. Ask us a question.
If you're listening, I promise you, we want to know. We want to know how you feel. We want to know your thoughts. Like, genuinely, we get giddy, like somebody coming up to your mom and being like, I love the podcast. Like, we have talked about it for at least 2 days now. Like, we're like, oh my God.
We get so happy. And it's like, even people that I haven't talked to in a long time, too, reaching out to me being like,
so reach out. Let us know you're listening and like you're loving it, because it genuinely means the world to us. And I feel like that is all for episode 16, girls. So famously, we'll see you next Tuesday.